This is Johnny Dosco. Stay tuned for another Scoresheet podcast. Holy Kadelka!
Hi, and welcome to another Scoresheet podcast. With football season starting up a month from now, I thought I'd spend a little time talking about Scoresheet Football, going over how you'd order a team, where you can read more about how our football game works, how you'd enter draft lists or make trades, and of all that stuff that talks about how it works before the season starts. The place to start when learning about Scoresheet Football is our website, scoresheet.com. Once you go to the home page, up on the top navigation bar is a fantasy football drop-down menu. If you've never played before, then these top few pages give an overview of how our games work. You can click on features and overview. You can watch a video if you want by clicking on the Scoresheet Fantasy Football video, or you can read various pages that talk about the game over here on this sidebar menu. If you decide that you'd like to give Scoresheet Football a try, or you want to sign up for a team and you've played before, up here in the upper right of all our pages is a Sign Up Now button. Once you go there, for returning customers, we have all the sports. If you're new to Scoresheet Football, meaning that you've never played before or even haven't played in the last 5 years, this year we're having a special half-price offer to try to give you an introduction to our football game. So if you're new or haven't played in the last few years, go ahead and click on the football special offer order form. And then you can order either teams in new one-year leagues or also forming new continuing leagues. You could order a team in a new continuing league. The way the new continuing league would work is that this year you of course draft from scratch, and then in subsequent years each team would protect 13 players. If you have played Scoresheet Football before, you'd of course click on the returning customer order. If you had a team from last year and you're logged on, that team should show up. If you didn't have any continuing teams, then you'd just fill out this order form, kind of the same as a special offer. How many new one-year leagues you want, teams, number of new teams you'd like in continuing leagues. Like it says up here, if you want to renew a team in a continuing league, to log on you'd click there. Then you'd come to this login screen. You'd fill out your first and last name, enter your password, and away you'd go. So once you log on, it'll list the teams that you had from last year, and you could either enter renew or drop or no action now. Once you enter how many teams you want, the total payment would show up and you'd click the Buy Now button. Once you've ordered your team, we'll go ahead and email you draft instructions, tell you which league you're in, your draft date, your team number, etc. To enter a draft list, what you would do is you would go to your league, and then on your league's page, you would click on the top link that says Undrafted Players and Ranking List. Then to draft players, to add them to your ranking list, you just click on their name and they would get put over there on the ranking list. When you're done creating your list and you want to save it, you just hit the Save button. Please note that up above here there's a roster balancing option. Roster balancing basically means that if you have it turned on, you will get players at positions you haven't yet filled, and it will skip over players that you already have a player at. If you're going to be an active participant in the draft and you always just want to get the top player on your list at that time, you could turn roster balancing off by, for instance, setting the round number to 99, which means that it doesn't start roster balancing till round 99, which is long after your draft is over. If, however, you're going to go on vacation or you just want to enter a long list and then kind of let the draft go without you paying much attention, you could turn roster balancing on to start with any round. You could start it with round 1 or round 15 or whatever. And then, like I said, what that means is the program will ensure that you get a balanced team. A couple quarterbacks, 3-4 running backs, 4 or 5 wide receivers, etc. If you turn it off, you want to make sure that you monitor your draft. You're liable to get 5 straight wide receivers with your first 5 picks if you have roster balancing off. If you're in an existing league and you want to turn in your keeper list, you can also do that from the web. For the existing continuing leagues, the top link will say Rosters and Stats and Keeper Form. You'll click on that. you'll go to your team's listing here. And then to keep players, if you click on their name once, down at the bottom of your screen, it'll show their stats for the last 2 seasons. If you look at him and decide, oh, that guy's worse than I thought, I don't want to keep him, you can click the omit button. If you click on someone and you look at his stats and you decide, oh, I do want to keep him, you simply click the keep button. You would do that for 13 players. They get put over here on your ranking list window, just as in if you're doing a regular draft. But then at the bottom, instead of saying save, since you're not doing a web draft right now, you're sending us a keeper list, the button will say send. You'd hit send and your list would get sent to the Scoresheet office. There's also other links on your league page. Last year's transactions are now all shown. Obviously, if you click on the link that says 2010, then you'll get information from last season. You'll get free agents drafted from the last week. This is the final game report. You can also see the entire league's transactions for the season, which starts out with messages from last year and the draft results from last year, messages from folks. If there's any trades, then they'll show up also on this transactions page. One other link that's on each league's page is what we call the dynamically updated rosters. That's the page that will change automatically as the draft goes on. Right now what it's just showing is last year's rosters because no one has turned in keepers yet. But during the draft, as each pick is made, it will get added to this dynamic rosters page. Also, if a trade is made, as soon as both owners have reported the trade using the web-based trade report form, the trade will get reflected on each team's roster. So the dynamic rosters page is a page you want to check if you're wondering how many running backs have been taken in your draft overall, or what trades have been made and what that does to teams' rosters. The season this year starts right after Labor Day. So we've got about 5 weeks of time to draft teams. We will be forming leagues for the next 3 or 4 weeks. If you'd like a team this year in Scoresheet Football, just go ahead and use the order form or send us an email or give us a call. Let us know if you want a team in a 1-year league or in a new continuing league, and we will sign you up. Finally, there are also some available continuing teams that the owner that had them last year has dropped. Those are offered at a discount, $10 off. If you'd like to see a list of teams that are available, go down here under the Fantasy Football drop-down menu to available continuing teams. As you can see, there's a couple dozen teams that you could choose from, and keepers are not due for about another week, so you'd have plenty of time to pick up a team and turn in your list of keepers. If you click on a league's link to see which team's available down here on the rosters, it shows the owner's name at the top. Team 8 was shown as available, and sure enough, here it is, says available team. And then those are the players that are on the team. You might also check to see whether teams have either traded away or traded for draft picks. For instance, this team has acquired Team 12's round 20 and 30 picks. Any draft picks that are rounds 1 through 13 are actually keeper spots. So if you see a team that is traded away, say it's round 13 pick or it's round 12 and 13, that means they've traded away 2 of their keeper spots and could only keep 11 players instead of 13 this year. So along with checking the rosters, you might also check below the roster and see whether there's any draft picks that have been traded. We hope you have a great football season and enjoy the rest of the summer.